Chacha, everybody. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the Champions League quarterfinals first leg, Zidane's tactical masterclass, and the fact that no one cares about Porto Chelsea. We will also discuss weekend's EPL fixtures, pressing things like is Ronaldo turning into a grumpy old guy, and trivial stuff like Inter being favourites to win the Serie A after just 11 years. Alright, let's go! So we have Ishan with us. Ishan, say hi.
Hello.
Ishan is a self-proclaimed Real Madrid fan, and he also a closet Manchester United fan. And I am Bala here. I am Barcelona fan and a closet
Why are you
Liverpool
not a
fan.
self-proclaimed Barca fan?
I am a self-proclaimed Barca fan and a self-proclaimed Liverpool fan. Lots to talk about. A lot of things happened in football over the last couple of weeks, but there is only one place to begin, which is the most important derby in the history of football. Yes, let's start with El Clasico, and we can see Ishan already pumping his fist. We can see why Ishan is really happy. It was a great game. I missed it. After Cruz scored the second goal, I stopped watching. But looks like I missed a great second half, especially the last 10 minutes. So, Ishan, since you watched the complete game, quickly tell us what happened, what went right, what went wrong.
First of all, vamos. It's been a really long time since we've done the double over Barcelona.
Yeah. Since 2007, 2008, apparently.
Yeah, I think it was one of the best Clásicos we've seen in years. And what made it even more amazing that Messi was almost irrelevant in the game, and it still turned out to be quite a great game. So without Messi, Ramos, all the big names that you normally associate with the Clásico, they weren't there. But it was such a brilliant game. The first half, it was a tactical masterclass by Zidane, who we all undervalue as a tactical manager. We all think he's just a motivation speaker. But I think he's proven himself to be one of the great managers of our times. But the second half was when Barcelona changed up their formation. They realized their mistake. Koeman realized what his mistakes were. He tried packing up the midfield in the first half. It didn't work because the wings were left exposed and Vinicius versus Dest was only going one way. So what he did was he went back to a four in defense formation, opened up the midfield sort of. And what that did was gave De Jong and Messi more room to play coming out of the back from the midfield. And that made all the difference. The weather, I cannot, if you guys have seen the highlights, the weather was absolutely ridiculous. And what made it even more incredible for Barcelona was the rain was coming towards their face and it was almost flat. And they still managed to conjure up attack after attack in the second half. It really was a great game. Madrid had a lot of chances. They could have put the match to rest in the second half. They had clear cut chances. It could have been, about 6 goals for Madrid, but, they held up. And in the last 5 minutes, meaning that I, I was almost under the bed watching the game because I just couldn't deal with the pressure. I was telling one of my friends that, how it's amazing how Casemiro gets away with, fouls, and he's never been red carded in his career. And literally 1 minute after that, he got red carded, meaning I feel so sorry for him because I jinxed it. But in the last second of the game, the last kick, Ter Stegen comes forward. There's a cross coming into the box. There's a new kid on the block. I forget his name. Brescia. I forget his name.
Moriba, Iraq's Moriba.
Iraq's. And he half volleys a shot straight onto the crossbar. No chance for Courtois. It rebounds back to Ter Stegen. He misses his kick. He misses his kick again, and then somebody skies the ball, and that's the end of the game. I think that for me is the most dramatic. Meaning, obviously, it doesn't beat Messi's last-minute goal a couple of years ago with his famous celebration, but contextually, in the frame of how the league is going, this was one of the big results for Real Madrid, and also quite a dampener for Barcelona because they've had an absolute spectacular 2021. They've been undefeated. And this probably puts a little bit of a roadblock in their journey to becoming La Liga winners this year. But I won't call it a game set and match for them. There still is a lot of games, 8 games left. Atletico are screwing up big time. So it's going to be between Barcelona and Real Madrid. Real Madrid with their injuries might screw up as well. And there is the Barca versus Atletico match in hand. So lots to play for in La Liga. It's probably one of the most exciting seasons we've seen in La Liga. So yeah, great result. But I don't think you should be so disheartened as well. Barcelona are a really strong team, much better than what we thought they would be. How looking out at how the season started.
Whenever you say that I feel disheartened, I'll just go back 6 months before. Because 6 months before, no one even thought that Barca will finish in top four. Now they are 1 point away from the top. So on that front, I'm actually happy. But as you said,
I would want to give all the credit for this to Koeman and not Messi this time. It's always been Messi has turned Barcelona around, but it's Koeman's strategy. The players, like, he really got the best out of De Jong. We knew he would. He managed him in the national team, but De Jong, even Griezmann, but Dembele, literally a guy Barcelona wanted to offload last season to get Neymar. He's become a regular starter. Touchwood, he's not had any injuries. Yes, he gives away the ball a lot, but I think he's been a real, he's been a comebacker of the year for Barcelona.
As you said, first half, I think Koeman got it a little wrong. I was a little surprised to see Dembele up front because he's not your traditional number 9 who's going to hold the ball and let the others run after him. That's not going to happen with Dembele. And that's why I think a difference was also. Like, one side you had Dembele, the other side you had Benzema. Like, who is probably playing the best football of his life, if I'm not wrong. He's amazing.
Yeah.
That finish, oh wow, what a finish, man. That's
unbelievable. Exudes confidence.
Amazing. And good to see that Koeman changed in the second half. So he started with the 3-4-2-1 kind of formation. Then he went back to the traditional 4-3-3, as you pointed out, which gave Messi and De Jong more space to play with. But this game again shows the quality of players Real Madrid have. Rather than, yes, Zidane is a good tactician and everything, but the trust he has on that core group of players, his core group of players, your Casemiros, your Kroos, Modric, Benzema, all these players came, they showed their class, and that pretty much created the difference in the game. I mean, the 2 goals, Benzema and Kroos. Dest, I don't know what he was doing for the second goal. He was not in the wall. He was standing right in front of Ter Stegen. He was turning his back.
He's American. He thought it was an NFL kick.
He did everything wrong.
But one thing I've always observed, like, when you look at the Madrid midfield of the Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, it's been at least 3-4 years since we said this is their best season. Buddhe ho gaye, now it's done. It's time to bring the youth. But they're still Zidane's go-to midfield, and they still usurp their best performances when it matters. It's incredible that, like, all of them are 30 plus, and they are still probably the best midfield trio in the world, in Europe, in world football right now.
Easily.
But what I also want to give credit to for Koeman is what happens, what we've seen in the past is that when Barcelona starts trailing, Messi falls back way too much. Right? He falls back almost beyond the halfway line to get the ball and start playing. But what the addition of players like Pedri has done is that they do that passing, that Iniesta incisive passing, which Messi would have had to do if he was ahead. And that has given them a little more options. Yes, they still run out of ideas under pressure, but that's going to happen with time. There needs to be some patience. So just a small observation I noticed.
So what happens to the race now? I mean, it's pretty tight. No one can guess what's going to happen. It's good for the viewers. It's good for the fans to see a closely fought La Liga race. But since 2013-14, this is probably the one which Atletico won in the last day.
In fact, since the last time Atletico won the league, because I remember Barcelona had a chance in the last game of the season as well.
It was Barca versus Atletico the last game. The last game was Barca versus Atletico. Barca scored the first goal and Barca was leading, and then Atletico scored the equalizer, which made Atletico win the league. I mean, that was...
Yeah, so I think it's going to go down to that match again.
And that's the only big game left for these two teams. I mean, there are other games, but this is the most important game. I was just going through Real Madrid's run, the last 8. I can see Sevilla probably the toughest. There is Athletic Club away. I'm not sure how tough it is. But the problem with Real Madrid is they have games against Getafe, Cadiz. These are the teams they have screwed up against this season. So,
But also, don't forget, we are still in the Champions League and we may move forward. And the thing is that we literally have no players.
that's true.
After the
Vasquez is also
Clasico,
out.
we've lost Vasquez out for the season. We've got Nacho suspended for the next game, and the next game's against Getafe. We've got Casemiro suspended because of the red card. We don't know when Ramos is not going to be there. We don't know if Varane will get over his COVID protocol. So we are literally short like of players. So that might actually, we've done a lot in terms of our self belief, but it might catch up to us. Just the lack of players and fatigue. Because in the second half, at the end of the game, Madrid were clearly exhausted. They just because you had Liverpool, then you have Barcelona, and you have Liverpool again. So it's just a little. I think it might catch up to them.
Let's see. Hopefully, the race heats up as we move on. Now, since you talk about Champions League, let's go there actually. So you have the four quarterfinals. The
Yeah.
one quarterfinal which we thought won't be a match actually turned out to be what we expected. Porto Chelsea pretty much seems like
Yeah.
one way. Chelsea seems to have
Yeah.
wrapped it up. Unless they absolutely screw it up like they did against West
Unless
Brom.
they do a West Brom.
Exactly. But otherwise, the remaining three, I would say you still have some chance. I mean, City, Dortmund, we don't know. It depends on how
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola screws up, overthinks and screws up.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, Madrid, advantage Madrid, but I still think Liverpool has a chance. What do you think?
I definitely think Liverpool has a chance. Uh, I've been a little disappointed with Klopp's attitude this season. Uh, it's very unlike him because he's one of my favorite managers, and he's always been the guy who rises above a situation and looks at the bigger picture. But he was a bit childish after the game, talking about how the Alfredo Di Stefano Stadium is like a training ground. Players are not used to it. Blah blah blah. But meaning it was unnecessary chatter or banter. I don't know, but whatever. Anfield is a different ground without the fans, right? And Real Madrid know that. And we've seen Real Madrid, they're far more experienced in crunch situations than what a Barcelona were a couple of years ago against Liverpool at Anfield, right? But I will not discount Liverpool's front three uh, with a weaker defense. If they get their act together, if Fabinho has a great game in midfield, if he keeps the three midfielders silent, uh, Liverpool have a chance. Remember, they just need to score 2 goals and not concede. The not concede is the challenge for Liverpool, not the goals, I feel. And that will be the difference. If Liverpool manage to avoid conceding, I think they have a great chance of going through. It's going to be tough, but if there's any club I would bet on other than Bayern Munich to get this comeback done, I think it would be Liverpool. So it's going to be a great game.
Let's talk about the big game. Probably the biggest game of this quarterfinal draw, and probably the most exciting game also. It was a
Hey, bloody
brilliant game.
biggest game for us is Liverpool Madrid.
No, I
I don't
agree,
give two
biggest
shits.
game for Liverpool Madrid. But when it comes to the current quality of the team and the
Yeah,
current quality of players, Bayern, PSG,
last year's
yeah,
finalists.
exactly. And Bayern, as you said, like Madrid, they don't have Lewandowski, they didn't have Nabri. And I was surprised to see Alfonso Davies not starting, especially
True.
against Neymar and Mbappe. Anyways, he corrected that later, but still, PSG
But
won
I
3-2.
know why. I probably know why Flick did that because if you look at Pavard is a better defender than Davis, right? And they knew with PSG they're anyway going to get a lot of space to attack. So Davis would have just provided another option which they already had. So I think he just wanted to solidify that wing because Mbappe, Neymar could overrun them, which they did anyway. Because their biggest weakness actually is their central defenders. Uh, Nicholas Sule is having a crappy season. Jerome Boateng, we know when it matters in the Champions League, trips and falls. And in this case, the ball went between his legs to score through an Mbappe shot, right? So that is their biggest weakness. But still, I still feel that they're just way too strong in terms of as a whole unit than PSG, and they'll go through. What do you think?
No, I would think PSG has a chance because Coman is also injured. Kingsley Coman is also
Oh,
injured.
Koeman's out.
Yeah,
Koeman's out of the game?
during the weekend game, the Bundesliga game, he was subbed during halftime. He limped off.
Okay.
So that's a concern. Even the new kid, Musiala, even he
Ah.
was limping off apparently. So,
Bro, Bayern have Chupo Moting, bro. I don't know. What a career, man. I can't believe.
his
From
agent has
Stoke
to be
City, PSG to you
Bayern.
and to Bayern now. It's ridiculous. What a career.
His agent has to be the best agent ever.
He ends up scoring, man. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. So but I still think without Lewandowski, I think it's, as you said, there is PSG do have a shoe in, but it goes down to Neymar's mood on that day. If Neymar decides to be Neymar, then PSG are winning it, no doubt about it.
See, this
Like
is
he
what
was
is
in the mood in the
about.
first leg.
This is what is about Neymar. Like when he's in mood, right? He is superb to watch. He's unplayable. The pass for
Yeah,
that first goal was brilliant. The only problem with Neymar is consistency, and when he's in mood, that half of the time he's not in the mood actually. So
yeah.
whenever he's in mood, he's brilliant. But there is one other player from PSG who I want to give immense credit is Keylor Navas. Oh wow, he
Oh yeah.
was brilliant. He made some 2, 3 amazing saves. I see whenever this discussion of who's the best goalkeeper comes in, right? It's a little disappointing to see Keylor Navas' name not being there in top three. He is a tremendous goalkeeper. I don't know why
He's
people.
got the credentials. He's got more Champions League than a lot of
Yeah,
goalkeepers out there. Which goalkeeper in say the 90s or early 2000s reminds you of being one of the best but never valued? I think Jersey Dudek for me in his prime for Liverpool was one of the best goalkeepers, but because there was the Buffons and the Casillas, he was never looked at. Dudek was the like behind the lines, doing his job, and I think that's what you need from a keeper. Just do your job. I think he was doing it really well, but he was never valued. So yeah. Also, obviously, Keylor Navas is another level of Jersey Dudek. No, I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying.
so yeah, pretty interesting second leg lined up. So quick predictions. Porto Chelsea, I think we both can agree Chelsea going through.
Chelsea.
Liverpool Madrid, I am going to go still with Madrid. I have a feeling that Madrid will still. It will be a tight game, but I think Madrid will edge. It won't be an easy game. It
I'm
will be a
forever
tight
the
game.
pessimist. I always believe something is going to collapse around Madrid, and I've lived my Madrid fandom for the last 15 years like that. But I still feel Madrid because they still have that big advantage. So Madrid for me as well.
Mhm.
Uh,
Man City, Dortmund.
I would say Dortmund. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Dortmund.
Yeah, even I want Dortmund to win, but we'll see. And Bayern PSG,
Bayern.
I'm going with
I know you
PSG.
want to say PSG. Yeah, I
I'm
know.
going with PSG. We'll see. We'll see. But really
But I
interesting
want PSG to win.
quarterfinals.
I want PSG to win. I want Bayern out. It's one headache off my head if we get through.
For me, like बस हो गया बहुत जीत लिया Bayern. बस अभी बंद करो बस हो गया बस. They are going to win the Bundesliga anyways. So बस हो गया खत्म करो.
Do you think it's going to be Zidane's last season at Real Madrid? Because he's been flirting with Juventus quite a bit. Del Piero had asked him, "What is your, on ESPN?" And he said, it's one of my favorite clubs. It's my, I love it. He's been flirting a lot more than he usually does. Do you think it's his last season? Quick thought on that.
Since you're on that topic, we can actually quickly jump into Serie A also, which brings into picture what's going to happen with Pirlo. Like if Zidane is going
Yeah.
to move to Juventus, what's going to happen with Pirlo? What I believe is if Pirlo manages to take Juventus to top four, I think Juventus will still give Pirlo at least one more season. So I won't think this will be the last season for Zidane. Hopefully the penultimate season. It depends on what happens with Juventus. And Juventus actually, after the Champions League disappointment, they did well in the last two games in Serie A. They did defeat
Yeah.
Napoli, which was an important game. And Pirlo actually saved his job, I have to say, by winning that game.
Yeah.
He was on the brink of getting sacked. It was a great game. I watched that game, very close. And the one who came in and made that difference was the bad boy of Juventus, I would say, Paulo Dybala. Brilliant goal. Oh, did you see the goal? It was a
No, I've not seen it. I've been seeing it.
typical Dybala goal on the right side of the post with his left foot curling inside
Yeah, it's
towards
a
that
typical
far goal.
Dybala goal.
Typical Dybala goal. It was a brilliant goal. It was a great game. And the first goal was a typical Ronaldo goal. Finds space inside the box, there's no one's around him. Ball comes to him, simply puts it in. Like
But he's
typical
become the
Ronaldo goal.
angry old man of Juventus. He's just losing his temper quite often. I don't think he's used to being fighting for Champions League places for
True.
at least the majority of his career. So I think it's just realization. But I also feel Zidane has his eyes on France as well. That is his ultimate goal, and it would depend on how Deschamps does in the Euros, because he really, I think, just for Benzema's sake, he wants to run France, like manage France and give Benzema that one game.
Don't you think it's too early? I mean, people usually take national jobs when they are past 55, 60, when they have done everything in the club level.
But it's Zidane,
He has already won everything at the club level, actually. That's also true.
and he won them a World Cup.
And
So
almost won the second World Cup by himself. Almost.
exactly, he won them a World Cup and a Euro. So, but you're right. We've seen mid like 20-year experienced managers, but then Flick might manage Germany as well. So we don't know. So concluding the Serie A, let's talk about Inter Milan. Wow. Wow.
In Scotland, Celtic won 9 leagues back to back. 10th one they faltered. Juventus won 9 back to back. 10th one they faltered. So that means next year, Bayern is not going to win the Bundesliga. Someone else is going to win the Bundesliga.
Bayern needs some controversy to happen for that to happen, because Bayern have average seasons, but everyone just has bad seasons then. Like this year in the league, they've not had a great season. They've not been their swashbuckling selves. But everyone else is losing. Like Dortmund keep losing. I don't understand how Aplu games they lose.
So yeah, coming back to Inter Milan. So they still have
kudos
8
to
games.
Conte, man. Conte has done a great job.
Relentless. And what they will do now, they have 8 games. And in that 8 games, they have a game against Napoli. They have a game against Juventus. So those two are probably the biggest games that is left over for them. Let me just look at their run. They have Napoli, they have Juventus, they have Roma. Probably the 3 most important game or the 3 biggest games.
So even if they lose all of it, they still have enough room.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the form they're in, I won't bet against them winning those games as well.
And they're going to win 1-0. It's going to be a series of 1-0s in the next 8 games. They're going to wrap it up. Good for them.
Yeah,
look
at the last game. Who scored? Darmian. Like United don't even remember if he played for their club, and he was assisted by Hakimi. Like it's 2 wing backs, left backs and right back combining to score a goal, and that's how they're winning. Inter's league to lose.
Premier League alumni club it is.
They shouldn't get in touch with Atletico Madrid though. It might.
Wow, what bottle jobs, man! I know I'm going back to La Liga, but what bottle jobs?
They're the South Africa of football this year.
I credit the both of us. Ever since we said the league is done, they started screwing up. All right. So since we are done with Serie A, let's move on to EPL, Gharka League. Going back to the weekend game, did you see the Tottenham United game?
Yes. So what do you think about the controversy?
I mean, see, we all know Mourinho's shithousery. We have seen it over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
We know. I was surprised to see why Ole is getting into it. Yeah, but you are a nice guy. You're a great guy. You're a great manager. Why are you getting into that fight? Don't do that. No.
I think Ole, uska predecessor pe, he has that I'm better than you kind of masala he wanted to just put in, I think. But I think he was also frustrated, right? They had a goal disallowed, and that could have been proved really costly due to Son's, apparent injury. I think that was it, but the match eventually worked out for them. Tottenham, again, I don't know what the hell is wrong with them. Do you see Kane leaving?
Definitely, he wants to leave, but the question is whether Daniel Levy is going to sell him, what kind of money he's going to demand.
And who can afford him?
Yeah, who can afford him? So the only point where I can see Kane going is he's definitely not going to leave EPL. There is no other club outside EPL that's going to afford him. So it's going to be either the Man Cities or your Chelsea maybe, or maybe United. Chelsea, I'm not sure whether he'll go because of Tottenham connection. So it's going to be either United or City. And that also depends on who is not going to get Haaland. Both of them are going to go for Haaland. So who is not going to get Haaland? They might probably consider Kane as their backup option. Now, since we're talking about,
backup.
but see, he's 27, 28.
Yeah.
So
He
I
feels
mean,
like he's 35 though, always. Throughout his career, I always feel he's like really old and somehow he's like poacher's goal, but he's young. He's a young
yeah.
guy. I
And
think
he's a
City have a shoe in for him because they're going to have to replace Aguero. Uh, and they might get, because they have to renew both De Bruyne and Sterling's contracts and they will charge quite a huge pay rise, right? Because they deserve it. So with that in mind, they might not be able to afford Haaland. So I think Kane is a better option to replace Aguero. That's my opinion, but you know, you never know with City. They might let go of 5 defenders to get Haaland and then buy 15 defenders the year after. So, you know, that's how they roll.
Since we are talking about Tottenham's great player, let's talk about the Tottenham's manager also. Do you think Mourinho is done?
You know, I love the guy. I have a certain amount of loyalty towards him because he managed two of my like clubs I'm really fond of, Inter Milan and obviously Real Madrid. I don't know. I think his nature of having conflicts with either the media, the press, the club, the players. To basically his attempt was always to motivate them. Like get angry with me, make me the villain so that you do better. It worked in big ego clubs like an Inter Milan where you had Materazzi and you had the Ramoses of the world and Ronaldo's, right? Where they are like, who the hell are you to tell me, I'm bad? But it doesn't work in English clubs because English clubs are, as you said, ghar ka liye, homely. However big you are, they are family oriented, right? Like हाथ हाथ से मिलो किसी के बारे में बुरा मत बोलो खराब लगेगा type. Like I can't imagine a situation where he goes to Kane and says, "What the hell are you doing? Iniacho is better than you," and that would motivate Kane. It would actually dishearten him, and I think that's what's happening at Spurs, where his strategy of riling players to do better is becoming counterproductive right now, and they're now just turning against him. Because if you see how Tottenham play, they play exactly like a Mourinho club, but they're just not doing a good job at it. I think that's what's the problem with Mourinho. It's not his tactics are outdated, it's the club. He's at the wrong club for a Mourinho kind of personality, I feel.
See, what I feel is the remark he made after the last week's game. He said, same coach, different players. What I feel with Mourinho is his methods haven't changed. What he did 15 years back, he's doing the same thing now. But what he has failed to understand is the players have changed. You have a new generation of players who needs a different kind of motivation. Who needs like a Klopp kind of motivation, who will come and hug you, who will put his hand around his shoulders, Pochettino, Klopp, Pep, those kind of, even Zidane for that matter. Zidane is a wonderful man manager. You will see him talking to his players responding to him. So the players have changed, the profile of players have changed, so the coach evolved. I believe Mourinho is still that feels
But
his old
tell me, Bala, to be honest, Levy got Mourinho to be Mourinho, right? Not to adapt to what Spurs should be. So who's at fault in terms of hiring? Like,
We
because
don't
I
know.
agree with your point. Mourinho, it's up to Mourinho to update the times and move on with the times, and change his philosophy of how to deal with players and strategy, etc. But Levy got Mourinho knowing exactly who Mourinho is.
But actually, if you see, during Mourinho's first press conference after he was made Tottenham's manager, he was like, I'm the new person. So I
But if you
definitely
know
thought
Mourinho, you know he's faffing, bro.
that's
His
true.
first interviews, if you've seen at any of the clubs, are probably the greatest interviews of that club's history. I remember the one when he was announced at Inter Milan after just winning the Champions League, and it was like a dawn because he was just like this slick back hair, and everyone just fell in love with him after that first interview. They thought he was some new mafioso joining the club. So he's known for it, but you're right. Meaning it's a bit of this and that. He has to learn how to adjust. But I feel his time is up to get a big club.
Exactly. Even I feel it. I don't think he's going to, at least not in EPL, he's going to manage a big club. Maybe he can go to France, or he can go to Germany, or he can go to
I
Italy
don't see it
again.
happening. The only thing I see happening for him in terms of a growth is probably managing Portugal.
That's also true.
But not a big club, big club. If you're looking at the elite eight of Europe, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, Elite Eight even I don't think. I'm still thinking he might go to, let's say, Italy, maybe an AC Milan or an Napoli. I don't know, but definitely not in England. Definitely
AC
not in
probably not. He's
Spain.
too loyal to Inter. He might not never do AC. I
Anyways,
think he wants to go. He'll always go to an untapped league. So I think France, as you said, could be one of the options.
all right. Let's talk about the top four race in EPL and the surprise package. David Moyes' West Ham.
Wow, wow,
Jesse
what
Lingard.
football!
Jesse Lingard. What happened to him?
What? But I'm just amazed at the quality of football being played at West Ham. It is so not David Moyes. It's almost like they've said, David Moyes, you shut up. We know how to play because it's so not his strategy. It is unbelievable. Jesse Lingard, yesterday I was watching a YouTube where they were debating if he's the greatest loan ever to have happened. He's actually shown what he's capable of, but not. This is not a dig at him. I've always believed that he is a mid to small club mentality kind of player. He'll be the best player at a West Ham, but he may not be able to do it at a United or a City or any big club. So I think he's just doing what he's capable of doing, and he's doing it really well.
He's a good backup. He's a good squad player in a club like a United or a big club. But he, as you said, he's a best player. Will be a best player in a mid table club like your West Ham's, your Leicester's, those kind of
Yeah.
clubs. He'll be the best player. But
But
really, really,
Declan Rice is having a what a season. Declan Rice, but he's going to move out for sure next year. Uh, Probably to United. I feel they might have him as part of like take Lingard permanent because I don't see Lingard coming back to United and starting however good this season is for him. I think United have moved on from him. Ole has moved on, and if Ole stays, I don't think Lingard. It's almost like Ceballos for Zidane. There's no chance of him coming back, right? But do you think they can retain the top four spot? Because I was looking at Liverpool's run in. It's really easy. Like if Liverpool just be Liverpool, normal Liverpool, not extravagant Liverpool, they'll be top four.
West Ham's running, right? They have Chelsea, which is a big game. And then
Yeah.
they have Everton, relatively big game. Apart from that, they have Southampton, West Brom, Brighton, Burnley. I believe they should
This
win
is
those.
West Ham you're talking about. The legendary bottlers of English football. They are the greatest club in English football to have never done shit. So
That's true. They're so big. They're actually really a big club. Like,
they're a massive club. Have you seen
yeah,
the stadium also? They have a lot of money
yeah.
as well.
So I don't think they will finish in top four. They might falter in the end. And as you rightly pointed out, Liverpool has a much more favorable run in towards the last eight. I mean, they have, I think, West Brom, Fulham. I mean, they still have United. Liverpool still have to go to Old Trafford. That is probably the only tough game, quote unquote tough game. Otherwise, they have Fulham, they have West Brom. The point is, they did lose points to Fulham, West Brom,
Yeah.
Newcastle, and all those teams. But we'll see. We'll see how Liverpool will come up. I still
Chelsea also, I feel, should get into the top four, at least third, because other than the West Brom game, if you don't include that, they've been really consistent defensively this season.
and they have a massive squad. They have a massive squad, all fully
Very
fit.
underused squad also
Very underused
at the
squad.
scale. Like we could do with some players.
Tammy Abraham is out of the squad. He's not 11, out of the squad.
But
It's
their
very,
greatest ever striker never to be Timo Werner. How many goals has he scored this season? I think it's his first and last season at Chelsea for sure. They're gonna
yeah.
cash it out.
Some news I saw that they're also going in for Haaland.
So then I see Werner going back to Germany. Then if that's happening,
That's possible. Or he may come to Liverpool for a cheaper rate.
like a Torres,
Yeah, like the
reverse Torres, reverse.
reverse Taurus. What do you think? So Leicester City, will they falter like
No.
last season?
I think it's going to be City, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool is going to be my top four.
Yeah, even I'm thinking the same. Even I'm thinking the same.
I would say West Ham will just miss out on the top four and be fifth, so they might get the Europa spot, which they deserve thoroughly. They truly deserve a European football next season with the way they played. So I'll be really upset if they do not. But Leicester, Leicester at the death have always up their game, their results, suddenly they start winning everything. They might play spoil sport to at least the European place, not to the top four probably.
So Leicester's running, right? They have fairly easy, like there is West Brom, there is Crystal Palace, Southampton, Newcastle. Oh, the last three games: United, Chelsea, Tottenham. Their last three
Oh
games.
my days! Oh, hey. But see, if the top three is decided by then, right, you're going to see United and Chelsea shuffling their squads. So, because they're already mentally up for the next season, they're out of Europe. Sorry, Chelsea might still be in Europe. We don't know. So, they might definitely shuffle their squad. So, Leicester could probably capitalize on that. But yeah, it's still tough games.
So we both are agreeing City, United, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Yeah. I think that's going to happen. Especially, say, if Liverpool get knocked out tomorrow, this is going to be their sole focus. All squads, everything aligned to one thing. If they go ahead in Europe, you never know because Liverpool is a big club. Champions League will be important. So lots to play. Like tomorrow will be a decider of if Liverpool are a shoe-in for top four or they will be top four.
In many cases, this feels like a 2013-14 season. La Liga being very close, where all three teams are vying for the top place. And with respect to Spurs, you are definitely going to see some big players leaving the club by the end of the season. I still think Kane is going to leave. Bale is going back to Real Madrid. And I still
believe... I forgot about him coming back. If we can get him back now for the Champions League, it will be good for us though.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening, guys. This is something we have been wanting to do for a while, and we are extremely glad that we could do this finally.
I think both of us have just been looking out for an outlet to talk about how much we love sports, and we've never had it. We've never been around people who cherish or understand our level of passion so much. So I think it's more than anything, it's just for both of us to chat with each other and just blurt out all of whatever we feel about sports. And our aim is that there are many more people like this around the world, around India, who would relate to it. And eventually we want to get you guys as well onto this forum and have your thoughts and your comments on what we think. And that's our eventual aim. And it's just a passion project. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Just to round off one final point, IPL has started.
I don't give a shit. I've not seen a single game.
I saw yesterday's game. So hopefully we'll do one quick episode on IPL if possible.
We'll do it because I still rely on Hotstar to do highlights. So I watched the game only after it's done. Yesterday's game was a cracker. I think we should have a segue podcast for the IPL after one round is done because it makes more sense, and we'll keep it light.
All right. So we'll see you everyone next week. Until then, have a great time. Bye-bye.
Have a great time, guys, and all the best if your teams are in the Champions League tonight and day after tomorrow. So all the best, guys.